can expect in court today?
Yeah, Kara, any moment, Bryan Kohberger going to walk into the courtroom. We expect he's going to change his plea to guilty. This is a long time coming. 2.5 years, almost 3 years since the murders. He has fought this from the beginning, claiming through his attorneys that the DNA was not reliable, that cell phone data was not reliable, that there was another suspect who was out there. Today, changing that, going to admit that he killed the 4 University of Idaho students, admit to burglary for entering that home on King Road in Moscow, changing his plea any moment. Kira.
All right. Well, Areva, Kohberger himself will need to answer questions from the judge. Let's talk about that, how you see that playing out.
Well, it's going to be riveting testimony, no doubt, Kira. He's going to have to address this court and admit to these murders. And as we've heard from the reporting, there are a lot of family members who are not in favor of this plea deal. Many of them said they weren't notified by the prosecutors at the time that the deal was being entered into. Some were actually working on legislation that would have impacted the death penalty in that state. And they were really hoping for a conviction at trial and for him to face the death penalty. So I can imagine it's going to be very emotional for the victims' families that have to sit and listen to this defendant talk about these heinous crimes that he committed against their loved ones.
And Joseph Kohberger has the opportunity to address the court also and address those families that Areva is talking about. Do you think he will? And is that a good idea?
He may address the family. That will happen at sentencing. I think today the judge is just going to decide whether or not the judge is going to accept the plea. And he has to advise Kohberger that you have the right to a jury trial, you're giving it up the right to confront witnesses, and you're giving up the right to remain silent. Is that okay? And if he answers yes and the judge decides to accept the plea, that's all that will happen today. At sentencing, he may or may not address the family. They may or may not be satisfied about that. In terms of that, it would be like looking into a crystal ball. Probably, I don't anticipate that we'll get a lot more details, unfortunately.
Alex, what more are you hearing from the families of these victims?
Well, it's mixed in what we're hearing from them. There are some family members who are quite angry about this deal. They say they were not adequately brought into the fold to decide on this. And there are others who say that this is a way to move forward, that there won't be years of appeals because of this. As part of this deal, he can't appeal. Had he gone to trial, which the trial could have been 3 or 4 months, and whatever it was, being a death penalty case, there would have been potentially years to decades of appeals coming up, that this gets a guaranteed conviction and that they won't have to go through the process many years dealing with this. But there are families, Ethan Chapin's family, he's one of the victims, Ethan Chapin, they are for it. The Gonsalves family, Kaylee Gonsalves being one of the victims, they are very much against this. We heard from her father a moment ago arriving at court. Here's what he said.
The judge could hear one thought from you that he should remember. What is it?
He's going to own this. He's going to inherit what Thompson did, and he's the only one that can fix it. He's the only one who can make it right.
One man shouldn't decide what 4 souls are worth.
You said they made a deal with the devil?
Well, yeah, they did.
What is that?
Thompson. Thompson made a deal with Kohberger.
You heard that there. He says they made a deal with the devil, making a deal with Bryan Kohberger. He is very much against this. He's making his voice heard today, but unlikely the judge is going to torpedo this deal. As the prosecution agrees to it, the defense agrees to it as well. The families can make their voices heard, but it appears, Kira, that this is going to go forward, despite what you heard there from Steve Gonsalves.
And also getting word from one of our producers there, Alex, security unusually tight around the county courthouse ahead of this plea hearing and this change of plea. Large and growing police presence, we're told, both inside and outside of where you are. Police using dogs as well. Definitely a tense time there in Idaho. Alex, Areva, Joseph, thank you all so much. We'll be talking throughout the afternoon, of course. And after nearly a 2-month trial with 34 witnesses,